Yeah, so we are back with episode 4 of Not Me Friend. Okay, we're back, episode 4 of the You Stink podcast. Like, to be honest, I really struggled to find something to talk about that I am not emotionally going through right now. However, that feels goddamn impossible at this point. My last episode was just it was so emotional, and the influx of love I just wasn't expecting, and so it can be a little discouraging trying to come up with another episode after that one. We're here. So I kind of wanted to talk about just like struggles with body image issue. Recently, if you guys don't know, which, you know, if you do know, like, then great, because like I love that the fact that you're on the other platforms, but I did just recently become a Gymshark athlete, and that is a crazy thing to kind of say out loud, because I remember when I was on YouTube and I was watching all the OGs like do their OG shit, and me being like, oh, like their life must just be so great, like it's probably just so amazing, I can't wait for that to be me one day, or like I hope that, like, you know, you just can't really imagine yourself being in that position. And if I told my younger self at 25 that would be where I'm at today, like, I think that I would probably spit in my face, okay? Not to be aggressive, but I don't know, it's just such a surreal thing, and I'm super grateful that like I've been given this opportunity, and they should be grateful too, okay? Because I'm cool. You know, I like to think of myself as the personality hire, and more so do I say that because I love the idea of being the personality hire, yes. However, I'm also just like not like what a typical athlete would look like, and sometimes that can like affect me. Like this morning, for instance, like I was getting ready for the gym and I'm scrolling through TikTok and I announced my Gymshark athlete status yesterday. I'm scrolling through TikTok, and I see this video of this girl, and she's talking about how like Gymshark is like not promoting like true athletes anymore. Like they don't have real athletes on their team. Like they're doing this iconic launch for their new Vital, which I'm wearing fully Vital right now. Use my code. But they're talking about how like, oh, like when I was watching the campaign, like I thought they were going to show their athletes, and instead they showed stupid, like, you know, creating the bum scrunch short and taking mirror selfies and like creating the wheel and stuff. And obviously like I was a part of that campaign, and I fell across this video organically, you know what I mean? Like I'm just doing my doom scroll in the morning, and I'm looking at this is very fresh for me, guys, watching the video, and I'm like, damn, like this is like 3 pictures of me. And I'm trying to disconnect from the fact that what she's talking about technically has nothing to do with me. I can't help the fact that they chose to use photos of me, or I can't help the fact that I was in this campaign and it doesn't align with something that you see. But it was hard for me to disconnect that, because I think deep down, like internally, I already feel that I don't have like the industry standard physique that, you know, your typical Gymshark athletes have, and trying to disconnect that and then have someone make a video talking about how like, you know, these aren't real, you know, not athletes, like they're not promoting, you know, shit like this anymore. They're promoting like lifestyle, like they're getting far away from like what they used to do, and not take it personal when you're seeing photos of yourself like up there. And she probably doesn't know who I am, and so of course I know it's not personal, but it's really hard to kind of disconnect from that. And I found myself in the comments, reading the comments, being like, yeah, like who even are these people anymore? Like this is so misogynistic, like they're going more towards lifestyle and blah blah blah. And like for me, obviously, like I'm not like a traditional athlete, so for me I'm like, okay, but like what's the issue? Like, you know, like not everybody is a powerlifter, not everybody is, you know, does gymnastics, not everyone is some Olympic boxer. You know, I don't think that there's an issue with a brand representing or trying to lean more towards lifestyle, when a majority of the people that they are promoting towards, and a majority of my audience, for instance, like we're here for health and we're here for wellness. And it was like frustrating, kind of not frustrating, but it was a little hurtful seeing like almost 50,000 people who liked this video, a video that was posted yesterday, kind of agreeing, because I kind of thought we were all on the same page, like, hey, like we're here for health, hey, we're here for wellness, hey, we're here for lifestyle. Like I'm not in this hua feeling or vibe of fitness. And I don't know, I was really trying not to internalize it. Okay, so I do want to take a second to introduce this week's sponsor. Let's give a huge shout out to BetterHelp. Now I know getting through your mental barriers can be super difficult, especially trying to do it on your own. That is why last year I finally started therapy, something I probably should have started years ago. I know my best friend had been encouraging me to do it for a very long time, because clearly I have a lot of unpacked trauma in regards to, you know, living in an abusive household, as well as dealing with parents with addiction, which I wouldn't wish on anyone, and I don't think any child should ever have to go through that, which is why I think it's important to get help, and it's okay to get help. I think therapy sometimes gets a really bad rep. I think a lot of people think they don't need it, and by a lot of people, I mean me, especially at one point, but the truth is you cannot fix everything, and that is okay. Talking to a therapist has been incredibly helpful to me. I think one of the reasons why I love BetterHelp so much is because it connected me to a licensed therapist who was not only trained to listen but offer unbiased advice. The only thing I had to do was go on their site, I filled out a couple of questions, and they matched me with a professional therapist who has years of experience helping people with the same issues that I have. Now, for me, my first therapist wasn't the best match. However, that's kind of the name of the game. Sometimes you have to play around with a few to figure out the one that meshes well with you, and with BetterHelp, they made that really easy. So now, me and my new therapist, we go together real bad. It's perfect. You can do everything from your phone or your computer. So if you want a phone call, you want a message, you want to do a video call, I'm a video chat girly because I like to see face. Honestly, it's whatever feels the most comfortable for you. So if you are struggling with anything, okay, I mean anything, I really, really encourage you to let BetterHelp connect you with a licensed therapist who can give you as much support as they've given me. You guys can click the link in my description box down below, or you can visit betterhelp.com/Taliyah. Again, that is betterhelp.com/Taliyah, or you can choose my channel name. It's Taliyah Joelle during the sign up to get a special discount off your first month. Something that made me really nervous when I was coming out was the video that I posted, my announcement video. Everything was cool, everything was fine, except for I just really didn't like the way that I looked in the video. It was after 6 weeks of not working out because of my surgery. It was during the ending point of my luteal phase. It was during the rough point of my wig. And so I had to post this video for my announcement, the video that I created, the video I spent time planning and working with the editor and the videographer on, and seeing how I looked and not finding it flattering. And of course, I tried to make it jokey because that's the point, hey, I'm not your traditional athlete. I'm joking on the fact that, usually their athletes are super athletic people, and I just happen to not be like that. But it's hard seeing that, not feeling great about yourself, then also being in my luteal phase right now. So also not feeling great about myself right now, and then having to push out this huge announcement video for something that is such a big deal. And I was on the treadmill this morning actually with my friend Lana, and I was talking to her about it, and she just recently had a graduation as well, and she was feeling really, really similar to that. And she reminded me that the way that I look and the way that she looks and the way that you look is the least important or the least interesting thing about you. I was like, ooh, I feel like you are scratching a part of my brain that I didn't realize needed to be scratched, because she's so right. There's so many more interesting things about me than the way that I look, and there's so much beauty in that. There's so much uniqueness in that. And I know that the way that I'm feeling is temporary. I know that the only reason I'm feeling this way is because I think us as a generation, or us as a society, is looking at ourselves more than we have ever looked at ourselves in the entire world or the entire slot of time. And that's not a natural thing to see yourself that way. And it used to be something that really, really, really ate away at me when I first started social media. I used to be like, oh my God, if I'm not wearing makeup, I can't come on camera. I'm like, oh, and I used to be someone that didn't wear any makeup except for maybe a little bit of mascara. And then the more I saw myself on camera, the more I felt pressure to put makeup on to show up. And that is such an annoying thing, or annoying feeling to have, because I should not feel like I need to skew the way that I want to show up for the sake of these goddamn beauty standards out here, because you guys are never thinking that. The way that I think about myself, you guys aren't thinking about me like that. And I got to get out of my head, and you probably got to get out of your head. So when you're I don't like the way that my teeth looks, no one's looking at that. No one's looking oh, my butt looks really flat today. No one's thinking about that. You were thinking about that way more than anybody is. But it's hard. I used to be in a space where I was okay, let me see the let's say you take pictures with your friends, okay? You're taking pictures with your friends, and you're excited to see the photos, and you see the photo and you look awful in the photo and everybody else looks good. I used to be someone that was don't post that. I don't want to see it, don't post it. And it is such a sad thing that you don't even want to share memories that you have with the people that you love, because you just don't like the way that you look in that photo, even though no one else is thinking about that as much as you are. And so now it's something that I've kind of had to overcome in this space, is that when people take pictures or photos or videos of me, or I'm taking pictures, photos, or videos of myself, that I have to choose not to care about what they look like or what I think about them. I have to choose not to let my personal feelings dictate the next thing on that. But that can be really hard. That can be so hard. Like, for instance, like, you guys saw, like, we're at the London shoot, like that iconic shoot that we did for Vital. I hated the way that I looked in that. Like, I thought that, like, the angles that they had of me were very unflattering. And I remember, like, being on the shoot and then being like, oh, do you want to see it? And I'm like, nah, I don't want to see it. Like, let's just get in and out. Let's take the photos and leave. But I, like, have to do that because it's very rare that I like photos of someone else taking photos of me. And I know that, like, again, like, that all that stuff is inside of my head, and that's okay to feel those way. But, like, I'm like, why look at the photo in that moment, or why watch the video in that moment and get pissed off and sad? And now I'm really not performing. Now I'm really not showing up. Now I'm really just, like, not showing up confident because I've seen something that has made me feel just not great, not beautiful. And so I don't know, I take it as a rule of thumb now. Like, even when I take like photos with you guys, like, nah, I don't want to see that. Just post it, I'll repost it. I don't want to see it. Tag me, I will repost it on my story. I don't care, because at the end of the day, like, that stuff is inside of my head. You know, I think I can even bring this back to, like, dating some of my exes, like, the way that I felt. Like, I remember, like, I don't know if you guys remember, but I kind of mention it every now and then, but I used to date this YouTuber, and I remember, like, I see myself as a very normal person. And when we were dating, you know, he made me feel so seen and so beautiful at the time. And then when I found out, like, that he was sending pictures of his bum bum, I wish I was lying. But when I found out he was sending pictures of his bum bum to, like, BBL bandits and these girls with all this plastic surgery and, you know, these fake butts and these fake tits and lipo, and, you know, or that they weren't black, like, it just threw me off, because I was like, damn, like, that was one of the few times that I ever felt ugly in my relationship, because the person that made me feel so beautiful and that I thought was really attracted to me was pursuing women that don't look anything like me. And that was, like, for me, a really hard pill to swallow, especially at that age, because I was like, damn, like, have you just, am I just not your type? Have you just never been attracted to me? And then it puts you down a weird rabbit hole where you're over analyzing these women, and you're stalking their Instagrams, and you're looking at what they've done, and you're comparing yourself to someone else. Like, even in the fitness industry, like, when I'm at these shoots with these girls, like, you're looking, I've never seen so many beautiful people in one place, and it's so hard not to compare yourself to that, especially, like, when you go on these sets, and, like, I'm usually the biggest person on the set, and I'm not even, like, considered big, you know what I mean? And to be there with all these petite, tiny, lean, fit, girly pops, and to feel like that bigger girl, and then to also, you know, feel like you're just having really unflattering moments, you start to feel less than. You start to feel like gross. And, like, you never want to use a word like that towards yourself, but, like, internally, like, that's how you feel. And so where you think that you are beautiful and that you're strong and you're confident, like, seeing a moment like that and experiencing a moment like that makes you feel so less than, and that, like, even where you feel like you've finally gotten somewhere, that it's not enough. And that's a you to society, because it's just not healthy to think that way about yourself and to compare yourself. And I've had people always ask me, like, oh, like, how do you stop comparing yourself to others? Babe. Like, I wish I could say that, like, you just stop, but, like, those thoughts are still there. Like even, like, when people talk about, oh, like, you just need to love yourself. How about you, dude? Because, like, I think social media does a really good job at inflating what loving yourself looks like. I think it makes people think that when you love yourself, that all of a sudden it is a switch that you flip in your brain, and you just start to love everything about yourself, and you never critique yourself ever again. And that is not what self-love is. That's not what self-love is at all. Same thing with fitness, right? Like, I think when people are like, oh yeah, like, I just need to be disciplined, like, that's what my issue is, I just can't be disciplined. But I'm like, no, discipline doesn't mean that, like, you never have those thoughts of, like, cravings, or, like, you never get the thoughts of, like, oh, I don't want to work out. Like, discipline and just, like, self-love is the response of how you react to those thoughts in your brain. So instead of being like, I don't feel like working out or not working out, you still have the thought, I don't feel like working out. But discipline is the choice that you make after the fact. I don't want to work out, but I'm still gonna work out. Or with self-love, I hate the way I look right now, and then the choice of that is being like, okay, but I'm not going to say that out loud, and I'm going to start complimenting myself in other areas, so that I remind myself just how beautiful I am. Because you are. Self-love being like, you're gonna love everything about yourself all the time is stupid. Like whoever came up with that, like, needs to get socked in the face, because that is just such a misleading, disingenuous statement of clearly someone who probably hates themselves, coming from someone who hates themselves if they think it's that easy. Even some of the most beautiful women in society probably struggle with self-love the most. And that's because everyone thinks that there's no reason why someone who looks like that should hate themselves. I don't know, man. I think that's why people get surgery, right? I think that's why people get, plastic surgery and fillers and Botox and all these other things, because we're looking at celebrities who look absolutely amazing, stunning, beautiful, clearly have insecurities and things that they want to touch on, and they get work done to fix it. And then they promote that beauty standard to the average gal, and then we're just supposed to hate ourselves, even though what led them to do that is probably internalized self-hatred. And this isn't to say for everyone, of course, you can do whatever the you want, dude. But to say that you've done something for the sole reason of you love yourself is such bull. At least in my opinion. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. And, I don't know. That's just my hot take on it. Even the situation that's going on with skinny. Skinny is in. Skinny is back. Sometimes it's very frustrating to see that, because I definitely feel that in social media. And even with you guys, I lost 16 pounds and I use that as a selling point for content, or a hook for content. Do you see how hungry we are to figure out how to get smaller? And then to be validated by the weight that I lost only contributes to the problem more. And that's hard and that's difficult, because I don't want to contribute to anything like that. But then subconsciously I'm okay, I'm getting this validation for this weight loss that I've never received before, and it makes me want to continue down this path. However, I have to remind myself while I'm on this path, and it's not because I want to be skinny mini. I want to be healthy, and I want to be able to put my body and my mind through challenges that it's never accomplished before, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it can be a lot. And you think that, or at least I think that I'm stronger than societal pressure, but when I think about it, I'm damn, I'm probably not. Which is I don't know, it's annoying, dude. And sometimes I even feel people try to make it some weird competition to have the worst body, or have the worst skin, or be taller than tall. For instance, I'll give you guys an example. Some of my content, I'm oh yeah, this it's tall girl friendly, right? And though I'm only 5'8", and for a lot of women that are taller than a 5'8", they do like to invalidate my struggle with that. They make it a competition of okay, well, your struggle can't be as bad as my struggle because I'm taller than you. I'm that's incorrect. Even though you're taller than me, we can still have the same issues. The issues I'm having at 5'8" with my pants all being high waters are the issues that 5'11" women have with their pants being high waters. You know what I mean? We have the same struggle. Maybe not to the same degree, but we have the same issue. And so trying to invalidate my issue because I'm not the same height as you makes you look like a sorry. Okay, it makes you look like a buddy. Or the same thing with women, I talked about how I feel about my body, or insecurities, and some women being oh, well, I would kill to have your body. You shouldn't be complaining about anything, or blah, blah, blah. I'm dude, but this isn't your body, this is my body. You're trying to invalidate the way I feel about my body to make yourself feel worse, to make yourself feel better. I don't get it. I mean, I do get it, because I've been super guilty of that. I used to have tiny petite friends, and I'm oh, shut up. You're not, if I had, I've all said that, but all of that, when I was saying it was just projection. I'm projecting my own insecurities onto someone else. I want to make them feel bad for feeling bad about themselves so that I can make myself feel better. Ah, you freaking asshole. I don't know, it's a lot. It's hard. I think the human brain and our mind, and especially us just being women, it's one of those things where logically, we know these things don't matter, or these things matter, or this is in our head. But emotionally, it's hard not to feel that in the moment. It's hard not to harp on the negativity that we're feeling towards ourselves in the moment. That's why I just don't like this self-love. Everyone's gotta love their bodies. Look at the whole Remy Bader thing, and I apologize if I'm saying her name wrong. I have no issues with women getting on Ozempic, or getting on GLP-1, or on some type of weight loss, gastric, any of that stuff, if that's what they need. You know what I mean? If they really need help and they need that and they want to do that for them and their health, and I totally understand that. You know what? Actually, let's unpack that a little bit, right? So I think where the issue lies with that Remy Bader situation is how she went about it, because this woman's page was solely about self-love and finding love and someone accepting you regardless of the size that you are, and pushing out content like that towards women who a lot of women relate to. And then for you to kind of not talk, you clearly, it's very clear as day that you're losing weight, to then not talk about it with other, to not be open about what you're doing, and to kind of change what you're posting. Now we're posting a lot of look at me, hot activities, which, listen, I'm a fan of posting hot activities, but when there's such a stark difference in like why you went into doing this to like what you're doing now, like I think that you owe it to your audience to be honest about that. And then to come on here a year later, you know, minus 100 plus, you know, or however many pounds she lost, and to go on Khloe Kardashian's podcast to expose like that she has, you know, been on Ozempic or GLP-1, I can't remember which one it was, and like that's why she's lost so much weight, and that like the reason, like what pretty much kickstarted her to do that was, you know, because her boyfriend said she wasn't attracted to her anymore. Like, do you see like the hypocrisy and like what you started and just like how bullshit of a movement that is, like when you didn't believe that to begin with? Again, back to what I was saying, that's why I just don't like the self-love, love yourself thing, because like yes you should, however it does not look like this. It isn't like a you need to stop caring what other people think and blah blah, blah this and that. No, those thoughts still happen, you still feel that way, just don't let it dictate what you choose to do or how you feel about yourself. Remind yourself, practice affirmations, like bring yourself back down to reality, have a support system that is going to remind you these things, and she didn't do that. So, and then to go on Khloe Kardashian, like that the hypocrisy in that is absolutely insane. To talk about this and say that you don't owe anyone an explanation on the podcast of a family that promotes this very harsh negative beauty standard in society is absolutely insane to me. But I don't know, maybe I'm reading too deep into that. Like I know that's probably like old news, like no one's probably talked about that forever. But yeah, so one of the ways that I allow myself to kind of get back into reality about how I feel about myself and my body is this thing that I saw Anna Paul say. I know she's going through like a lot of controversy right now. Let's just ignore that part of it and like just piece the advice from it. But she had, and I've said this before, but she had mentioned that like whenever you're not feeling great about yourself or you're comparing yourself to others, to think about like beautiful things in this world, right? Like when you think about like the sun and how beautiful the sun is, or when you think about stars or like a constellation or the ocean or a perfect pool day or I don't know, a beautiful looking piece of food or a sunset versus a sunrise. I think that's probably the best one to describe it, right? Like both are really, really, really beautiful things. They're so beautiful. And I wouldn't say that one is more beautiful than the other, right? They're two different things. And I think that that is what beauty is, right? Like just because someone else is gorgeous doesn't mean you're not also gorgeous. Just because someone else is super hot doesn't mean that you're also not hot, right? Like just because one is one way doesn't mean it negates the other. And I think that there's so much beauty and being unique. That kind of like brought me back into reality, because when I would look at other people on social media, I'm like, oh my God, like she's so hot. Like I wish. But then I'm like, okay, she's hot, but I'm hot too. Like I'm hot too. Like we're just two different types of hot, which is fine. And like it makes me smile. It makes me like remember how just like so unserious this all is, because I'm like, I'm in my head thinking, wishing I was her. She probably wishing she was somebody else. And that doesn't mean she's like any less beautiful, that I'm any less beautiful. But like you can't help but like feel it in that moment. And I'm like, oh my God, like I just hate it here. I hate the way that like we think, and I think social media has just done such a really good job at inflating those negative thoughts about ourselves when it doesn't have to be that deep. Like even think about like dating apps like Hinge. Like dude, I hate Hinge. I hate Hinge. I hate Hinge real bad. And that's because like we're literally looking at people and are swiping based off of solely attraction. And you know what sucks? The ugliest dudes respond to my prompts. Like they will respond the wittiest to my prompts, and I'm like, oh God, like if you're just attractive, like I would swipe because this is funny and very niche of you, but like I don't like the way you look. And I'm like, dude, like why? Which is nothing wrong. Like I think you should be fully attracted to your partner, but it is frustrating thinking that someone is doing that to your pictures and your photos and being like, you're funny, but you're not my type. What about who I am inside? And then look at me doing the same thing. I don't know. I guess that's just how it goes. Like it's like I recently just like fully cut things off with the guy that I was dating previously. And I remember we were like in the car one time talking about like, oh yeah, like what's your, like, you know, he was telling me like his usual type, because I told him, I was like, yeah, like I just, you know, deep down, like I just don't think I ever thought it was gonna work, because like I'm not even your type. And he was like, oh, like what do you mean by that? Well, I'm like, well, when you say like girls with like dark hair, light eyes, and tattoos is like your type, I'm like imagining Megan Fox with tats. I'm not imagining a black woman. And then like I think it's like one of those canon things where like as a black woman, right, like we're always like, when I don't know about you guys, but like when I was growing up and even still to this day, I'm always thinking like, regardless of this other person's ethnicity or race, I'm always thinking, oh, well, do they even like black girls? Or am I like someone's experiment today? Because I don't want to be an experiment. Or I don't want to be more palatable for, you know, different races or ethnicities. And so like, I'm like, damn, like I'm doing the same thing right now with this thought process and it sucks. It just sucks so bad. I'm like, I don't want to go down this toxic line of thinking because like, I don't know, it's just so weird. It's just so freaking weird. And then on top of that, like not even to mention like the multitude of microaggressions that can sometimes come from white women. And this isn't me on white women at all, okay? Like my white girly pops who support black women, okay? We're all allies. But for instance, like with his ex, like his ex was really, really surprised that I was black, and that threw me. Cause I'm like, dude, like what's wrong with me being black? Why is that so shocking? Why is that so surprising? And then it kind of like funnels its way into my brain of thinking like, oh, like I'm not this dude's type. Oh, like blah, blah, this and that. And then I start going down this like this internalized like self like pity where I'm just like, oh, like this is just another something for someone else to try out, and like not feeling appreciated or loved for just who I am and not the way that I look or the palatableness I am for other people. And I don't know, it's just freaking weird, dude. Like it's just a really, really weird space to be in. But I think that like as I've been growing and developing, and even as my frontal lobe development has happened, like I think that I am beautiful regardless of the color of my skin. And I think that that can be a really hard concept to grasp. When I was younger, I think that I used to think that I was lucky if people found me attractive because of the color of my skin. And now I don't think that at all. I think that when I walk into a space, like the beauty radiates off of me, not just because of the way I look, but because of how I carry myself. And because, you know, you can feel that when someone walks into that room, like you can feel that. And I think that I admit that. And that has offered me so much more perspective into this versus me thinking like, guess I'm beautiful for a black girl. Like, whoever said that, suck my meat, dog. You don't understand like the generational trauma that this has caused so many young black women. And I mean, I don't know, I could be wrong. Maybe this could be just something that's in my head, but it's definitely like a weird thought. I think like moving forward with myself, like I want to feel the most comfortable that I've ever felt. I don't want to feel forced to wear something. I don't want to feel forced to, you know, put on makeup or show up a certain way. I just want to show up the way that I want to show up, and I want to love everything about that, and I want to be comfortable with everything about that, because I know loving everything about that's, you know, quite, to be honest, just like not the most realistic thing. Like I can't help my subconscious thoughts. However, I want to not care. And I think that just comes with practice, and I think that comes with time and being put in those situations and choosing to not care and choosing to not let it dictate what I choose to do. You know, I think the only reason why I even want to talk about things like this is because sometimes I feel like we can look at other people and think that they are not feeling the same way that we're feeling, or that like them having these feelings of insecurity seem like so unrealistic, and that's just not true. I don't envy celebrities. Again, like I'm sure those are some of the most insecure people in the world, when you constantly have people critiquing the way that you look and saying something, commenting on weight, commenting on, you know, acne, commenting on your skin, commenting on your clothes. Like, how about you, dude? You know what I mean? So I don't envy that at all. And I you know, before I got my boobs done, I watched this movie called The Substance. Yeah, I think it was called The Substance with Demi Moore. Oh my god, that was like the worst movie to watch right before I got my breast implants. It showed how society views women and how women conform. Samuel, quiet. And how women conform to societal pressure with getting work done, and we're trying to be as skinny as possible and doing these extreme diets and all this just fake fad BS. And I'm like, damn, like so many women like who even say they don't want to conform to those things conform. And it was such a like, I can't believe I'm watching this. And if none of you guys have watched that movie, like you really should. Demi Moore did an amazing job. The other actress, I can't remember her name at the moment, but she did an absolutely amazing job. And it was a really eye-opening film to watch, and also a hard film to watch. So if you're gonna watch this, like, I recommend watching it with some friends. I don't want to contribute to that. Like, I really don't. And I want you guys to feel comfortable in your own skin. And I know that that takes time, and even for myself that takes a lot of time that I wish that it didn't take, but like, it is what it is, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I don't know. I know moving forward, like, I used to think like affirmations were silly and stupid, but like, affirmations really aren't silly and stupid. Like, they seem silly and stupid because they it feels like it doesn't work, like when you're looking at someone else do it, but like when you are saying these things to yourself over and over and over again, they do work. And I think like the whole thing with body image is it's not like what your body looks like, it's like how you feel that your body is being portrayed. And I think that you can reframe your brain into thinking some of the most positive things about yourself. And like, that's not to say that like those negative thoughts go away, but I do think that you'll be able to figure out better ways to cope with those feelings and those thoughts, and eventually they'll become less frequent. You know, I can say for a fact that I have felt that over this time, and it's something that I need to refocus on again. But yeah, I don't know. Sorry about that episode being all over the place and perhaps it being short. I really struggled to but I knew that deep down I just needed to like kind of sit down and do this and get over my fear towards it. But yeah, if you stayed to the end, thank you. I love you. I'm finally going to put this out on distribution sites, so I'm excited about that. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, make sure to do that. If not, I think it'd be weird if you got to this point of the video. And also, if you got to this point of the video, just know that I love you intimately. I will see you guys next week, or maybe in 2 weeks from now, for episode 5. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And bye.
Oh, behave. Yeah. Yeah, baby. Yeah.